After 2 weeks of PBE, set 12 is finally out. Man, that PBE cycle felt like it took forever, man. I mean, I get it. Listen, they wanted to make sure the set released in a good state. You know, nothing game ruining was shipped when the set released, so that's good thinking, actually. So now that Syndra got the Diddy treatment, we can actually talk about some other comps. This time, the Blue Man takes the main stage. You might have noticed a sharp increase in people playing Ryze right about the time I started feeling a sharp pain in my chest. I thought I was being cool and edgy by playing Ryze. Turns out fatherless minds think alike. The entire server was playing Ryze as well. You can imagine my face as I hard forced this comp over and over again, not knowing what the universe had in store for me. Even worse, when I rolled 70 gold for Ryze 2 and didn't hit a single one. The one game I was actually completely uncontested. Don't worry, my therapist has been notified to keep their schedule open. Set 12 is proving to be a bit of a challenge. I need to get back to Masters. This elo physically hurts to play in. With that said, I've played 20 or 30 games of Ryze. I believe I've amassed an athenaeum of knowledge, and I'll share it with you guys here today. This is every Ryze variation and how you should play it. Stick around to the end because I'll show you the highest cap for all of these comps, plus an item that is so disgustingly broken and nobody is building it. No need to thank me, just make sure to subscribe. Wasting absolutely no time, let's get straight into it. The Bastion of 4 is what I call my remaining brain cells after another 5 people contesting Ahri Zoe reroll in every lobby I play in. So Syndra gets field goal punted, and here comes round 2, Electric Bungaloo. That comp is getting a video too, don't worry about that. I'm taking that comp down like I did Syndra and Ahri Sentinel from set 10. Ahri Zoe is going down, I guarantee it. But for Bastion, this comp is kind of like finding out Jaden Smith cheated on this girl. That family's DNA needs to be studied. That's an L in pretty much every continent, my boy. I don't know what to tell you. Kind of like for Bastion, actually. This comp is absolute trash and you should never play it. On one hand, it's not a particularly strong trait, and then you also run the risk of there being a little pollen in the air, Ahri sneezing, and your entire comp goes boss. I don't feel so good. Well, yeah, Ahri just made you gargle hydrochloric acid for 30 minutes. That'll do it. And that's what I imagine 8k true damage would feel like in real life. It's just gargling hydrochloric acid. What an experience. But for Bastion, not a real comp. I have it in here because this was the original comp people thought you played with Ryze. I think you could play it for a bit in stage 3 or something, but other than that, you don't want to be seen playing this comp. People are trying to figure out a way to play Ahri without Bastion. That's how bad it is. Jaden Smith is a 4 Bastion kind of guy. Don't be one of those. 8 Portal is pretty simple, actually. Sometimes you just have to play for a top 4 and just be okay with the result. Cash your chips and go home before you lose it all. That's what this is. Get an early spat, play 6 Portal, stage 3, win streak to 4-2. Level to 8, put in 8 Portal, goo goo gaga. I saw a video of alligators in the Everglades playing this comp. It's pretty simple. The main thing you want to look out for are the items for Ryze. Ryze is a pretty flexible unit in terms of items, but there's some items in the stance, that a vast majority of people are not playing. People think Rageblade is good on Ryze. I didn't know opioids were making a comeback. It's not bad. It makes sense. You have 4 Scholar, your ability skills have attack speed. It makes sense. In practice, you're better off actually building other things. And that's why this item is actually broken and no one is building it. I don't think people realize how good this item is, specifically on champions that have long cast times like Ahri, Ryze. But Adaptive Helm is one of the best items in the stance. And the reason why is because when Ryze casts, he uses the full power of the Second Amendment, lights their block up, but he's mana locked, meaning he can't gain mana while he's casting. The way Adaptive Helm interacts with it is it waits until after Ryze is casting to give the mana. So after he's done casting, he immediately starts with 30 mana in his mana bar, and he gets to his next cast almost instantly. You also have to consider who your item holders are going to be in the early game. Zoe's good. If you have a Rageblade, Kassadin is good. He does great with AP as well. But by far the best item holder for Ryze early game is actually just hit a Ryze at level 5. So guys, if you're in my game specifically, get to level 5 and just start rolling for a Ryze, see if you hit it. It does work, I promise. 8 Portal is the kind of comp you play from ahead. I don't want to see you tier 3 Pokemon subs crying because you didn't win out with this. How high you place will ultimately be determined by how much health you saved in the early game. Or, depending on how much your parents love you, you can hit your units early and go straight to 10 at the high end. I find myself getting stuck on 9 and rolling for the 5 cost and versing the 9 Frost and 9 Fairy at the same time kind of lobby, so I might have some difficult conversations to have with my mom, but that's where the health mattered. The 9 Fairy guy beat the 9 Frost guy, and then I got the distinct privilege of watching myself lose 60 health slowly. Those are the best games, actually, when you're just outscaled and you have to watch yourself lose 5 rounds in a row to end the game, and you stay in the game because you're just coping out of your mind. You're praying somehow, some way they stand up to stretch and accidentally surrender the game. Maybe, bro. Anything can happen. Instead, my internet connection actually goes out, which is probably for the best, actually. God said, you know what, bro, you've had enough. Go home. This next comp is going to sound a little weird, but hear me out real quick. 6 portal. This is actually a transitional comp. Say you have a 3 portal opener. You're happy. You're aware that the guy with AD items and a Kog'Maw is about to pivot into Ryze because obviously play your strongest comp in stage 2, but during stage 3 start collecting portal units so you can eventually play 6 portal in stage 4. This is pretty huge because I've found, in my experience, that 6 portal with a 1-star Ryze and a 1-star Taric is strong enough to get you to level 9 on its own. Now, you do need some frontline 2-star. You can't just raw dog it. Again, don't run it down. If you have 20 HP, yeah, maybe don't expect to get to level 9. Don't tank your account and then come back here and blame little old me. Alright, I'm just a friendly ghost. So then you go to level 9 to get to your final comp. 3 Preserver, 4 Scholar. For this comp, you desperately need 2-star Morgana. That's why rolling on 8 feels really bad unless you're blessed and you roll the Xerath charm that permanently increases your chances of hitting 5 cost. But see, that's a game where I had to stay at level 8 because I was going to meet my maker in the sewers if I didn't. But hitting the Xerath charm allowed me to stay at level 8. Most of the time to play this comp, you need to find a way to level 9 as quickly as possible. And that's where 6 portal comes in. Ryze is a stall comp. You want your front line to be like our social security, absolutely impenetrable. Oh wait. So you go to 9, and most of the time you'll be staying at 9 to try to hit everything 2-star. If you, for some reason, manage to hit everything relatively quickly, I have some good news for you, actually. We will be performing a random inspection of your computer just to make sure Vanguard is working properly. It's just a preventative measure because I can't hit 2-star 5 costs to save my life, so I don't know what to tell you. Not to be crass, but whose dick do I have to suck in order to get a Milio 2 in this godforsaken game? Or a Diana, actually. There's literally no comp that plays Diana, by the way. Frost? 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 Is that a type of gum? I just went on a 2-day siege of my toilet, wiped my ass with Frost, came out of there smelling like winter green, sat back in my chair, and I still couldn't hit Diana, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Got me going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because I can't check, because now I gotta check my Tactic.Tools rankings, and it says I have a B in execution. Yeah, someone's getting executed, alright. You're not watching my games, bro. Everybody else is playing TFT. I'm out here playing Super Auto Pets, bro. It's not the same game. I'm about to crash out, bro. I'm pulling out a Ouija board and asking Michael Jackson if he keeps the 5 costs where he kept the... Anyway. Speaking of 4 scholars, actually. I did eventually hit the Diana. I got the charm that gave me a champ duplicator, and it did actually end up having a pretty big impact on my mental health. This was actually close. I'm sure there's some positioning that could have won it for me. That's besides the point. You know what, maybe my execution is off. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, that was probably it. You know, I play Galio, I go 7th. You know, everybody else plays Galio, they go 1st, and they beat fully capped out Ryze, because, yeah, maybe it's just a execution diff, I think, for sure, yeah. Now that's pretty much the cap for this comp, but you could cap higher technically if you hit a +1 scholar. You can drop the Zoe, who, as great of a job as she does as, you know, making sure everybody is hydrated, fetching towels, refilling water bottles. Every team needs a role player, but if you do get a scholar emblem, you can play Namzi or whatever this thing is called. Nora, that's what it's called. Sorry, get them confused. They look so alike. Do be aware, however, that by adding a Nora to your comp, you are adding another 5 cost that will inevitably stay 1-star for the entire game. I also would recommend against picking a Scholar emblem from an augment. I'm pretty sure repeatedly spitting on your computer will get you a higher placement in the game. Give that thing the old hawk tour. Now this next and final comp is a special one, as it comes from the world champ himself. It makes sense, playing Ryze with the Orangutan 3-star, that has sound logic behind it. Like I said earlier, what you want with Ryze, you need that Russian World War II type of front line. I played Call of Duty World at War. I know what I'm talking about here. You need that kind of front line. This game, he had big gains and then Wukong early, so it made sense as to why it worked for him here. I personally, every time I try to reroll anything with Wukong, I go bot 4 in the server. Again, probably just an execution diff, but Ryze full per server is the full comp. It doesn't look good to the eyes. I gotta keep it a stack. But hey, I mean, the world champ won with it, so it's gotta be good. It's gotta be good. I'll put it in here. With that said, that's all I got for you guys today, man. Hey, go out there and get your LP. Peace.